Okay, so when we get to the lake, we'll undo our transom straps back here. So you just pull down on this latch, pop it up, and unhook it there. Somebody want to do the other side? Okay, then there's 2 plugs for this boat. So here's the back one, Rich. So that's just like the Moomba one, pretty similar if you want to throw that one in. Okay, so here's your second plug. This one will go right down here if you want to get a shot of that. See that hole right there for it?
Where, oh, right there.
Yeah. So this one will just go right there. So I'll throw it in there. I was gonna say this one you technically can leave in because the water will still drain to the back, whatever's left in here. So, but whatever you guys want to do. Okay, so your windscreen will store right up here. Got to lift this front seat up. Then see this little cutout for it right there? Right there. You can just slide it right in. Voila.
That's the battery?
Yep, battery's right under this seat. And then your ballast bag, your front ballast bag, just kind of horseshoes around it.
That's a little ballast.
There we go. Okay. So we'll turn our battery on. You have 2 batteries. You have battery 1, battery 2, and then straight down is 1 and 2. So you always just want to run the boat on both so you have full power. Then for starting the boat, we'll hit the power button here. This will turn on all of your electronics. Note that the blower turns on automatically when you do that. It'll run for 4 minutes. It'll shut off on its own. If you don't want to use the blower switch is right here. You can turn it off. And then to start the boat, Rich, if you want to hit the start button. Oh, didn't ask for the code that time because we didn't have it off long enough. Do we want to have it redo
Right
the
now
code?
is 1, 2, 3, 4.
So
Yeah, just explain it.
Yeah, so you'll hit the start button, the code will pop up here. Your code is 1, 2, 3, 4. You'll type that in and then you'll hit start again. Cool. And it won't ask for the code every time. The boat needs to be off for 5-6 minutes before it will ask for it again. So for setting up Bluetooth, we'll hit our power button. And then you'll hit your source button. It'll usually pop up automatically on Bluetooth. And then do you want to connect again, Rich? The Bluetooth is called MBB Viper 500. Okay, looks like Rich got automatically connected.
Top of the hill.
Yeah. This is James Taylor? Yeah.
Since we're on our way down.
So see these volume zones? As I twist the volume knob, you have these zones. So zone 1 will be the front speakers, zone 2 will be the house speakers back here, zone 3 will be the tower speakers, and then zone 4 is your sub. So what you can do is you can click in on the knob and then scroll to whatever zone you want and then hit it again and then you can control that one. So, and that's your music. All right, so for surfing, okay, so here's your 4 ballast tanks. Generally, you'll just want to fill them all. So if you hit fill, Rich, it'll do all 4 of them. So now they're highlighted blue, letting you know they're filling. Those are all on timers, those pumps. So once the timer goes off, they'll shut off automatically. You can still shut them off manually if you want, just by hitting stop. You can also highlight certain tanks to give them whatever command you want. Generally, you'll just fill all 4. So.
And where are the 4?
So you have the front tank here, and then your center here, kind of right below us, and then you have the 2 rears in the corners. You have the hard tanks and then the ballast bags as well. So, and then we have our surf gates right up here, left and right. So that'll dictate which side your rider is on. So let's say our rider's gonna be on the right, so we can hit select right. So that'll bring the surf gate out once we get up to speed. And then, Rich, we can get our cruise control on by hitting the cruise control button there where it says off. So now it's on. Let's dial that back to, let's start with 11. So you can actually use that, or you can use that little dial down there to get down to where you want to be. Perfect. And then your wedge is over here, so your wedge will dictate the size and shape of the wave. So number 6 on that dial will be your biggest wave, it'll be really tall, but as you work down towards 1, it'll also lengthen out. So let's just start on like a 1, so we can start on the smallest and then we'll work our way up. So see how you've pre-selected 1, but it still says it's in stow?
Okay.
It will not come out of stow till you put the boat in gear.
Okay.
That's just a safety precaution so nobody gets their leg pinched in the wedge or anything while it's moving.
Okay.
You can still move it 6 through 1 while you're in neutral. It's just getting it in and out of stow that you'll need to be in gear. So Rich, if you want to just pop it into gear real quick and we'll get that to move down. So once it reads 1 mile per hour, it'll move down. There it goes. So you can go back to neutral and it'll work its way down to number 1. So there it goes. Okay, so now we can.
Full or?
So it's not full yet. Once they're full, they'll go dark again, so they'll turn off. So while they're filling, you can start surfing while they're filling. You know, your wave just won't be as big, but or you can just kind of hang out and wait for them to fill. They'll generally start to overflow out of the overflow spills, and then they'll just shut off on their own. Yeah, that's setting up your surfing. So you probably won't use this function very often with the wedge, but there is this lift mode. I kind of think of it as 0 on the scale. So what it does is instead of pulling the back of the boat in the water, it's actually pushing up on it, helping your boat get on the plane quicker, up to speed a little quicker. So water skier.
Yeah, water ski.
Yeah. The only downside to that is you can only go 28 miles per hour in lift mode. So I know a lot of water skiers go a little quicker than that. But it does help a lot with getting your water skier up and going. Or say your ballast is full and you got somebody at the dock that needs to be picked up and you don't want to drain the ballast, you can put in lift mode to help you get over to the dock a little quicker. So if you're wakeboarding, it will actually automatically go into lift mode. So if you have the wedge set at 2 for your wakeboard, as soon as you get up to your cruise speed, it'll actually go back into 2. So it'll start at lift automatically and then go back into 2. So it'll automatically do it all for you. The rider can wear the surf band. They can control the surf gate. So if they want to do a transfer, they can flip sides on the wave. They can control the wedge and the speed of the boat only up and down 5 miles per hour. So that's why you don't want to surf alone. And then you can do the tower speaker volume as well on the sides. So that's the surf band.
And is it just connected already or what?
Yeah, yep, it's always just ready to go.
So like, can you turn the volume up right now?
Maybe.
Yeah, it's going.
There it goes. Yeah, I think it takes a lot of clicks, but yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
So, yeah.
Cool.
So yeah. So your surf gates and power wedge are pretty fail safe. So if you forgot to recenter your surf gate when you're done surfing, or you forgot to put the wedge up, you'll get a big pop-up warning on the screen saying you forgot, to put them in, and it won't let you go over a certain speed. So it'll warn you. Yeah, so that'll be, let's go to the settings down there at the bottom. Yep, so that'll flip your screens. So let's go to boat configuration, boat surf gate transfer. So transfer tone, you can go change the tones in there if you hit transfer tone. So that's the volume of the transfer tone. So I just keep it probably all the way up. If you go back, bottom there, go to transfer tone. Here's where you can change that sound, so you can play with those. Some of them are obnoxious.
Can you turn?
That one's pretty good. Yeah, and you can turn the volume down to like a 2 if you don't want it that loud. So, yeah, that's not bad there.
Is there not like a 1?
Let's go back into boat config. Let's see what else we need to go through in there. Wedge engine. Oh, so engine start code. This is where you can go to change that code from 1, 2, 3, 4 if you don't want it to be 1, 2, 3, 4. Or you can disable it in there. Wedge and surf gate, you shouldn't have to worry about that. Everything else in there is just kind of other stuff. So I'll go back to settings. So let's go to calibration. So you can set depth alarms to kind of warn you when you get into certain depths. Keep in mind that'll kind of go on every time you go on and off the trailer though. So it does come in handy at PAL though. Let's see, we were in calibration, right? Air temp, off speed and throttle. Stereo. So if you go into stereo, you can adjust the auto volume for the throttle. So as you speed up and slow down, the music will go up and down for you.
Okay, right.
So you can just adjust the level in there. Time, you can set your time in there. I don't know what we're set at right now. Probably Eastern. You want to set it to
12 hours.
time zone. Hit time zone and hit mountain. Bottom right. Yeah, perfect. Now your time's set.
And
Okay, diagnostics. So if you got like a code, you could go in there and see what was going on.
Okay.
That's pretty much it in your settings. So.
Okay. And what's this?
So yeah, let's go to that one. So here's just kind of a cluster gauge here. Just kind of all sorts of gauges. I mean, yeah, water temp. What else we got down there? Battery volts, lake temp there, 65. Not sure. Is it really 65 already? It's not bad if it is. Here's your boat hours, engine hours, 1.2 hours in that top corner.
Okay.
And then we know the break-in service is between 10 and 20. So
What's this?
So let's go to that one. So on the right side, that's all of your lighting. And then on the left is your bilge. You have two bilges on this boat. You have one in this compartment where that plug was, and then one in the rear. Those come on automatically. They're on sensors.
Oh, and you do have the heater and the blower.
Yep. And another blower switch there.
But the heater, you've got two of them or three?
You have one down there by your foot, and then two hoses right here. So these will pop out from the hoses. So.
Put it wrapped around in a towel.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And so I would just push heater on that and then go.
Yep. And there's a high and a low setting.
Right.
Oh, look at that! They go right back in.
And then yeah, back to your surf gate or your surfing.
So,
Yeah.
and then those are the lights or?
So that's to dim and brighten your screen.
Okay.
And then the top one will just sleep it. So if you hit that, it should go dark.
Okay.
Let's see, yeah. And then one more will brighten it up.
These center stop
Yep.
port, those
So these are just secondary switches to this screen. So
Okay.
you have your ballast tanks here and here. You have your surf gates here and here. Your center button there, so just like that. And then your wedge up and
are,
down.
and the cruise you can turn.
You can
here.
adjust there, yep. Mm-hmm.
Good.
So here's your go home button. And then there's also one here. If you hit select preset, you can hit go home there. The go home button will just reset the boat. So it'll drain your ballast tanks, pull your wedge up, pull your surf gate in, turn your cruise off. So you hit the one button and you're good to go to the trailer, back to the houseboat or wherever you're going.
Okay.
So, okay, one other kind of important thing. See this key down here?
Yeah.
That we suggest leaving out of that ignition. So you can pull that out, Rich. That is kind of a backup. So say your screen wasn't working to put your code in or the start button stopped working. You can still start the boat with that key and it'll get you back, to wherever you need to go.
I'll put it here.
Yeah. But if that ever gets turned in the ignition, it will override most of the power on the boat. It's just set up that way for some reason. So yeah, just leave it somewhere in the boat and
I'll just leave it
Emergency
up to that.
starting order.
yep. You should never need it. I've never seen anybody need it yet. So.
What is this?
So you just pull up right here on this handle, and then you can go to there, or you can go to right there. So
That's pretty sick.
Is there
Yeah.
a point on the seat that you step?
so you can fold it up, and then you gotta make sure you kind of shimmy it down into the bracket, and then it'll stay. It's just a kind of a little shimmy you need to do, and then you can tighten it on there. So we'll undo our straps here. And I'll slide that zipper to you, Ben. Perfect. All right, then we can unravel it. Okay, so now we'll push it back. So watch your head, Ben. So this will slide back, just like that. And then you can lift it up over. Okay. And then yours might have, sometimes it'll slide forward again, so just make sure it's back this way all the way. Yep. And then if you want to get the camera pointed kind of right on this little bracket here, so this ball joint will slide down into here, and then you kind of got to shimmy it down in. And then do you see that pin, Ben? Yep. So this pin, it has a little groove in it to let that ball go in, and then if I spin it just 180 degrees, it'll be solid, and that'll hold it in. Yeah, so there's Velcros on the outside to kind of help support it a little more.
Oh, over here too.
Yeah, so you can do all 4 of those. This zipper here is so you can hand a rope to yourself. So you can hand your surf rope up through there, and then you can put it up on the pylon.
And when
So this cap is for your gas cap, so you can get to your gas there while the cover's on. These are around the boat. These are to get to your cleats. So if you want to leave the boat tied up in the water with the cover on, you can still put your ropes to them. And then with the cover, up top, if you want to point to that pocket, that will be the drawstring for the going up the tower. You can pull on that to snug up the cover so that any kind of water or rain will drip off of it. You shouldn't have to reset it very often though. It should always just kind of stay where it's at, and you should be good. And then these 2 ratchets here, there's one on each pocket. You'll just want to kind of ratchet until they're both somewhat centered in